The rabble of soft pulmonic rain peppered the sleeping crop. Moon-glazed shimmers gamboled across the blight, and the night waves rolled over the undulate hills. Upon crescents of the startled night, Onsuram's transic song loped to a halt for a first in days. Someone was here.
A verdant wicker candle shot above the haze of seeds, a beacon of convocation.
Parpem peered over her high-collared cloak from her lounge of sacks. More orbs of light emerged in a semicircular pattern, emanating from mechanical lanterns. Rags of light pressed against the fog, strangled the little Parpem could see. Jagged figures stalked up dry tampoon stems with agility. Their red-brown attire concealed their inner machinations. Whirring sounds, clicks and clanks loudened until 24 lamps lanked from rods. The glaucous light gave their rusted faces a cold green cut. Each figure resembled the previous, only by their jaggedness. Lanky limbs and sunken loops twitched as they were held in position, and large gears protruded from pivotal junctions, until finally a voice spoke from an unknown mismatched body part.
A term is past.
A crooked voice gawked.
Oh, noble guardian, heavy may thy find this truth. You shan't be served another lord of light. Our dress of Tukwis lends itself no longer to your gears of might.
Parpem, runner of the land-born vessel, stood to set this right. She puffed her thorax, and Onsuram strengthened their soul under her, so that Parpem rose omnisciently through the greened fog. You speak as though you wish to be lavished from prosperity. The mechanists watched stoically. Holden here! Parpem waved a runner's limb at the monstrous cargo held in sacks. Your ration for a term sits with us on our voyage. The figures swayed atop their stalks. If thou art true to thine words of severance by forced hand, another tribute for thine ration will be found.
Nerves crept through Parpem's insides. Must they return with such terrible news? Yet she stood tall, almost reaching Onsuram's second layer.
Heed our warning, your flesh shall thaw to burned days, and your cogs shall grind into a spirit spray. Parpem eyed the carved mechanical faces. There wasn't one that betrayed their confidence of severing the truss. Numbered are your days, she said, furiously waving a spirit finger. Fewer are they still, should you sever the truss of Tukwis from salvation. After what Parpem hoped was a thoughtful pause, Tukwis spoke again.
You are wrong, your lordship and guardian. We are now one with the eclect of the sun.
Death, Onsuram spat. This valley shall soak in its remains. You will all die, Parpem couldn't agree with Onsuram more. To fall victim to those obscenities? All the knowledge of salvation bestowed upon thine tribe, and now thou thinkst to perform such transmutations?
The tampoon roots are strongest in gross matter, your lordship. There is more energy in the magical. We can transmute it into food.
You
for our
cannot!
bodies.
Parpem said, proboscis flaring. I sense death, Onsuram murmured again. You will all die, Parpem echoed. Like those before you, you will starve at the mercy of these backwards ways.
Lordship, this is the future.
We are the future, Parpem said, pounding her bust. That seemed to get a couple of mechanical chuckles.
What of your backwards ways? What of those you stifle, those you kill? What of our ermine neighbors you malnourish? For the Salve of Life hath decreed their reproductive behavior problematic. Well, what?
Do not revel in idiocy, Toquis. You know very well what you speak of. Every action is for salvation, every death worth countless lives, one of many in exchange for one of few. Contrary to the eclectic ways, the Salve of Life will not leave starvation to feast on another species' carcass.
This species, our species, the Salve must leave. Leave us to whatever force you think will extinguish us first. The eclect of the sun shall cleanse the world of this blight. Yeah. Tarquins no longer oppose the trust.
They truly wish to do it. The trust of Toquis severed from salvation.
We grant you passage one last time through our lands.
The Green Lanterns parted to grant passage. They would fall to this crop. It would dry them and starve them to extinction like it had done to many before. The mechanists clung to their tampoon stems, glass eyes fixed on Onsuram as they walked into their land. Parpem thought. Perhaps she ought to be certain the egg was as it should be, on the topmost layer of Onsuram. Their most valuable cargo, the last war bird's egg. Perhaps it would prolong their extinction. Another generation? She did not check on the egg. Onsuram took up song as their stony legs set a burdensome rhythm. This tune Parpem had not heard in oh so many years. Vitriol strings of melancholy weaved a dark melody. As the sky began to clear and the rasp of dawn joined the cacophony of the blight, stalactites of sorrow dripped from Onsuram and hung above Parpem's head. Calcified in grief, she let out an agonized cry. By the blight, Onsuram! She would give these beings their final morsel. In due time, you will learn to forgive, Onsuram replied. A little cryptic, Parpem grumbled. She turned to the ration sacks behind to aid the doomed Toquis. Parpem froze. A magnatic crop fire blazed before her very eyes.